Alright guys, so we are back at FW again. We're going to be installing an internal wastegate actuator on Brandon's RS over here, right there. Pretty cool. We're at FW Motorsports again, and yeah, we're going to try this out. Should be pretty interesting. It's the first time we've ever done this, and on a Ford anyways, so let's try it out. It's all in the back. It's not like a Subaru where you got like a nice little area to get to it. It's super easy. This one's a little more hidden, so we'll have to see what we can do with space. Going to be putting on this internal wastegate actuator on Brandon's Ford Focus RS right here. Got to figure out how the hell to get to it though, right?
Yeah, I mean, we pull this whole cowling off, this whole part, wiper arms, all the cowling comes out, and then it should give you a lot of access in there because this cowling comes out pretty far.
Right.
And then, I mean, might have to pull the intake off, not a huge deal, and try and get to the wastegate actuator. It's on top of the turbo on the back side.
Cool.
Be fun.
And then we get to do some fun adjustments. I think that's going to be the funnest part, all the preload and all that. Alright, so first thing to come off are these two little vents right here on the cowling, and then we're pulling off the bolts on the windshield wipers to pull those off so we can get this whole little piece off here. This is going to be the fun part. You got to figure out how to get the windshield wiper off without breaking anything. Sometimes they come off easy, other times they're a pain in the dick. Oh, you see that, Brandon? So on this windshield wiper, we're trying to mark it, that way we know the keyed location, how to put it right back on. On the first one, we kind of forgot to do that, but we're just going to use the dust mark on the windshield and hopefully line it up like that. It should be okay. Boom.
The other trick is this spring puts a lot of tension on it. So if you pull the spring up, it keeps tension off the rod. So if you pull that up, you usually do it by hand, but that tool just makes it a lot easier.
Just getting all those bolts off that cowling, and then we can pull this right off of here. So that just pulls up out of there. It's kind of got this little keyed area right here that just kind of slots in. So you just give it upward pressure, and that'll pop it out of this little keyway. Taking off all the intake tubing right now. It's a few bolts that mount it down, and there's one right down on the bottom of the turbo down there that we're gonna have to undo to get the piping off. But it's pretty straightforward and fairly accessible, so this should not be that difficult of a part to get off. So just remove that grommet right there to get a little bit more play in the pipe. That way we can get a little bit more angle on it. That seemed to be a pretty good trick. We can get a little bit more leverage on it now. Just kind of wobble, wiggle, and all that until it pops off, just like that. So there is the turbo right down there. You can see the wastegate actuator right down in that hole.
So the wastegate actuator, you can carry more boost through the whole RPM band, and it's more consistent. So it just gives you way better boost control. Right. The wastegate, you know, controls all your boost.
And right now we're just trying to remove the heat shield. That clip is right down in there. So that's what the heat shield looks like when it comes out. So those are the two top bolts right there. Then you'll have this smaller bolt right down here, which is a little Torx. That guy right there. This is a T30 Torx that you have to take out of the bottom screw right here. So I can't really show you guys in the car because it's just one of those things you got to feel out, but that is what it looks like. So hopefully that'll help some of you guys out if you do one of these mods. All right guys, so in the mirror, if you guys can see that right down there, you can see the little circlip right there. We're trying to get a screwdriver in there so that we can pop it off, but you can see it's just a really small little retaining clip to go on there. Once we get it off, it'll be easy. Getting it back on is going to be fun as well too. So we're going to try to get that off there and not lose it. There it is. You got it. It's that little guy right there. That's what it looks like. You can kind of put a hook. We put a 90-degree hook in it, and we're able to get it off there. Then took a magnet to make sure that it didn't fall down any farther. So that is the factory piece. You can see that it's been kind of painted on there so that it locks the position. So
yeah, probably silicone or something.
Yeah, so that's good to keep. If you ever want to put it back to stock, it'll be real easy just to pop it right back in there, right?
Yep. You'll see when we put the new one on. You set it on, so the wastegate door has this arm up here where the circlip goes on, and we have to adjust the preload. So you put it on free length, take this back off, and then it's 4 full turns, and that gives you about 3 millimeters of preload. And then we'll have to put pliers or something on here to actually move the spring on the arm, overcome it to slap it back on the wastegate door.
So it's really tight in there, but just getting those 2 bolts on the wastegate actuator mounted down so we can check the arm linkage out, try to get some preload on it. Okay, so what we did there is made sure the actuator door was fully closed, and then went and screwed that in 4 times. We did 4 rotations. Brandon put a mark on the top of it, that way you could count the revolutions of it when screwing it back, and that's gonna get the preload set correctly so we can get this thing on here. Now the wastegate door keeps wanting to flop closed, so we think we're gonna put what, like a rubber band on it or something?
I'll put a rubber band to keep it shut, so when I put a plier or something on here to pull this open, if you even touch this door, it'll fall open. So we'll want to keep it closed while we try and put the arm on there.
Now that we got the preload adjusted on that, I'm gonna show you this off the car again, but we have to get that little clip back on there again. So that is this little guy. It's backwards, it's kind of underneath the car. What you have to do is slide it on, boom, and it'll click in. However, that is all like way down in here. You got to do that like up underneath, slide it on. Not too easy. So definitely this is not an easy task to perform. It's a very time consuming and difficult, but you can do it. Just kind of a pain in the ass.
Look at that. There you go.
Boom. So if you guys can kind of see the arm right there, the clip goes right up in here, but like I said, it's kind of underneath. So you got to slide it on and not drop it. Looks like the arm got on there. We did not drop the retaining clip, so that was very good. Brandon did a great job on that. Car has 2 Turbosmart parts on it now. The blow-off valve is actually below the turbo right here. See that little anodized piece right in there? That's the blow-off valve. The vacuum line attached right now. All right, so Brandon is giving that heat shield some persuasion to get back into its factory location. That one's pretty flexy. It's not like a Subaru heat shield, but they're super solid. This is, I don't know, some aluminum, fairly thin, not super thick. And how do you think it's going back in there?
Pretty good. Right? Yeah, just having to thread in the bottom one will be the pain, but we'll get there.
Not a big deal. Now there's 2 studs on the top. You actually removed the top 2 studs. What do you think? Is that necessary, or?
It just makes it a little easier to get it out.
Yeah.
Not something to hang up on.
A little more room to slide it in and out of there. Yeah. So it just looks just like that right there. And what is it?
It's an E8.
Yeah.
Stick it on there.
Nice.
Put it back on.
Makes it real easy.
Yeah.
If you have the proper tool.
Yeah.
The intake piping back on. I'm going to put on the intake first, right down there. Now he's putting those rubber grommets back on. That made it a whole lot easier to take this off, because it just gave it enough wiggle room to get that clamp off on the bottom. All right, so when you put this on, the little nipple one right here, that one goes on the outside, most passenger side. That's for the engine piece, the little cover that goes over the top of the motor, so you can click it back on. You're going to want to take your little hoses right here, get them clipped back in. Putting back on that cowling right on the front, that's going to clip in. Our bolt holes right here. I'm going to go ahead and put the bolts back in there, get this all lined back up, and get that windshield wipers. That's the most important thing in a car, the windshield wipers.
Yeah, unless it's like full-on race car.
That's 5 horsepower per wiper.
Per wiper.
So Brandon's just lining it up to that mark like before. All right, so we got those little cover pieces on now. So now the air box is going back in. Pretty basic, just reverse order like it came out. Those just clip in on the bottom. You just press down firmly. I think this part's pretty trick. This little inlet area, pretty cool. How it routes the air. Yep, this little part just kind of clips right down over that. Got them swivels. I like those. I gotta get some of those.
They're the best tool ever.
Very cool.
I use them all the time.
So just go ahead and put that top cover piece back on. All right, so Brandon's got to reflash the map real quick.
Yeah, you don't want to run, you know, like a off-the-shelf map or a ProTune map when you install the wastegate, because you might overboost. So you want to have your tuner give you a base map or something, you know, if you're going to drive it to some place after you install it or have the shop install it. But you basically want to have it where it's zeroed out and doesn't run any wastegate duty cycles. So it just runs just off the wastegate spring.
Right.
Yeah.
Now who's doing all the tuning on this?
Snail Performance. Travis Snail Performance is the man.
Oh yeah. All right, so Brandon is just flashing the new map from Travis. If you guys haven't seen an access port before, it's pretty easy to change between maps. Really pretty basic. You just follow the on-screen instructions, do what it wants you to do, and it'll do it. Make sure to have your lights off and that sort of thing. You don't want to kill the battery when you do this, because you could bump the ECU, and that's not cool.
Yeah, you can actually brick it, and that sucks because then you gotta take the ECU back out and send it to Cobb, and they have to flash a factory ROM on there and send it back to you. And yeah, it's no fun.
No fun.
It sucks.
All right, so the map is flashed. Gonna go ahead and make sure the car starts. Voila. It's usually a good idea just to let the car idle, let it relearn all its factory settings for its idle adjustments and all that.
Yeah, especially like on a Subaru, you want to sit there and let it idle for a minute or two, because if you try and go drive it, basically drives like poop. You know, the throttle has to relearn all that, so you just let it idle for a couple minutes, and then you're good to go driving.
Is that the same on this? Or have you noticed it as much?
I'm not really sure. I don't think so. These cars are a lot smarter than Subarus, but.
Alright guys, so I hope you liked that video with Brandon. Thanks for being one of the stars. And I'm sure you guys will see more of this Ford RS in the future. Still got to drive it around, try out this new shifter. But the car is going to get tuned tomorrow, so it'll put down some more fun numbers, right?
Yes, stoked for that. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to overlay some graphs and see what the difference in boots is going to be. It's going to want to build boost a lot quicker and hold more consistent boost over the whole curve. So overall, we're going to have more power. Definitely a good upgrade.
Yay! All right, guys. So we will talk to you soon. Later, guys. Wrench on. Pretty awesome. These are only $80 a piece, guys. So check out that link below. If it says that they're out of stock, they restock like in a matter of a week.